So what is up, guys? Soda the Savage back in. Oh my god, it has been a long time since I filmed my last video. The last video that I actually ended up filming, it was my tribute to Teddy Bridgewater, thanking him for what he did for the New Orleans Saints. But now I am back. You know, this time I'm coming out with another postseason predictions video. This time it is the NBA 2019-2020 NBA postseason predictions. Now, you know, I wasn't even sure if I was going to get a chance to film this video, you know, due to with COVID going around. You know, I just didn't know if this would happen, but it's happening. You know, got the Raptors jersey on, got the hat, which is actually the Champions hat, but I'm wearing it backwards because I like it better backwards. I like this. I like this so I can kind of like flex, even though still not quite at Michael Thomas, but I'll get there at one point. But anyways, we got many predictions to go through. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright, so here we are starting out with our very first matchup between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic, the 1 versus 8 seed. So starting off with the Milwaukee Bucks, they went 56-17 in the season, finished first in the Eastern Conference. So some strengths I see with them, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best player in the NBA right now. People could say arguably, but I think he is the best. Number one. He's averaging 29.5 points per game. Of course, strengths I see with the Bucks, one of the better defenses in the league, and you know, they're able to stop other teams on defense. You know, one of the better drive teams. If I do see a couple of weaknesses with them, I see it kind of like their depth, because you know they got guys like Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, which they're great guys, but once you get past them, their depth is really inconsistent. And of course, the 3-point is just a joke. Like, of course, this team thrives off driving the ball. And, you know, the 3 is just kind of a non-existent part of the game. Then you got the Orlando Magic. They went 33-40, came 8th. And really, there's nothing good I can say about them. Sure, you got some guys like Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, Terrence Ross, DJ Augustine, Evan Fournier. But, like, there's no strengths I see with you guys. All that I see are weaknesses, because you're an 8 seed. You don't belong here. And 8 seeds, of course, they never belong in the playoffs, at least in the East. You're under 500. They don't deserve to be here. And, I got nothing to say. Like, they're just so bad. Like, they don't even deserve to be here. Like, their defense is okay, but the offense is just inconsistent and abysmal. So, of course, this is an easy prediction. Bucks are going to win the series, but I'm going to say they're going to win it in 5. You know, I'm going to say maybe Orlando pulls out a winning Game 3, and that's it. Anyways, Bucks in 5. And now you have our very next matchup between my boys and the Toronto Raptors versus the Brooklyn Nets. So starting off, the Raptors, they went 53-19, came in 2nd place. And oh my god, I could go on gushing and gushing about this team, but I'm going to keep it short for this round. So starting off with the Raptors, you know, last year, at least when we lost Kawhi Leonard, everyone put us aside. You know, people said we wouldn't even make the playoffs. You know, I'll admit, myself, I pushed us aside a little bit, but I didn't think we'd pull off what we would do. I kind of thought that we'd be kind of like more like top to mid-tier teams, kind of like a 4 or a 5 seed. But no, we completely exceeded expectations. You know, Nick Nurse, greatest head coach in the NBA. Got like the greatest squad: Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Marcus Gasol, Fred VanVleet, and that's just a couple of guys. Like, one of the main things that we have going for us is the depth, because you know, if those guys are failing, you know, we got Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Matt Thomas, Chris Boucher, Terrence Davis, and Stanley Johnson. Like, the one thing that we have is the strength. Like, I mean, the depth is something that is one of our biggest strengths. So is the 3 ball. And one of the main ways I know that we score is with transition offense and defense. I think we were ranked 2nd in like points allowed per game in terms of defense. So that's pretty good. But anyways, then you move on to the Brooklyn Nets. Honestly, there's also no strength with you guys. Even though you are 35-37, you're a 7 seed, and literally what's killing you is that everyone's gone. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Spencer Dinwiddie, Michael Beasley, Jamal Crawford, and DeAndre Jordan. Like, your whole entire starting squad is not going to be there. So who you got? You got guys like Joe Harris, Karis Tavert, Garrett Temple, Jared Allen. Like, honestly, you guys are not meant to, go on a long playoff streak. You're not supposed to do it this year. Like, I'm keeping it short for you guys because you're not going to succeed at all whatsoever. Now, of course, can the Raptors get over that Game 1 syndrome? You know what? Screw it. Fuck it. Like the great Messiah Jerry said, fuck Brooklyn. We're sweeping them. Raptors sweep the Nets. And now you have our very next matchup between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the 3 versus 6 seeded match. And so starting off with the Boston Celtics. So something that I see going for you guys, well, you finished the season 48-24, third seed. And something I see going for you is that depth. I love it. Even though I hate you guys, love your depth. Guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward, Daniel Theis, Brad Wanamaker. Like, seriously, like, your depth is one of the best in the league. And a lot like the Raptors, you're just also super, super balanced. Like, you have, I think you're, ranked 4th in offense, and you're ranked 4th in defense. So, overall, with your guys, together, you're, the perfect team. Like the Raptors, just, a lot of depth. And then you have the 76ers, trust the process, fuck the process. I hate the 76ers more than any other NBA team. Almost took us out last year. Thank God they didn't. But anyways, you got defense. You got Joel Embiid, 3rd best center in the NBA. I don't care what y'all say. I think Jokic and Gobert are the better centers, in my opinion. Got guys like Al Horford, Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson. You guys are arguably, despite being a 6 seed, you might be thinking, oh, they're good. What's their problem? I mean, Embiid is, one of the best centers, scoring 23 points a game. What's the issue? No Ben Simmons. No Ben Simmons. You lose, not only are you losing, your 2nd best player on the team, you're losing arguably your best defensive player on the team. Ben Simmons is one of the best defending point guards. He's not even really a point guard, but anyways, no Simmons is just going to mean that it's going to be a much harder road for you guys. And so, the Celtics, I see them coming in and pushing aside the 76ers. I'm going to say Sixers will steal a Game 4, narrowly avoiding the sweep, but Celtics will win in 5. And now you have our very next matchup between the Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat. Starting off with the Indiana Pacers. Well, there's only one guy who's been there for you in the bubble, and that is T.J. Warren. Oh my God, this guy was just a living legend. At least for the first 3 games or so, but then he kind of dropped off the next, came back up. But anyways, T.J. Warren, what a great story for a guy. I didn't expect him to do what he did. I don't think anyone did. But anyways, you got a great team. Finished 45-28, finished 4th. Got guys like Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner, DeMonte Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Malcolm Brogdon. I like that team a lot, but of course your best guy is Victor Oladipo. T.J. Warren, traded for him at a buy low rate, so I would like that. But one of my bigger concerns I have about you is kind of your consistency, like what I saw with T.J. Warren in the bubble, and also Victor Oladipo, because, he, over the past couple of years, last year, he got injured, season injury, so his durability is now something I worry about, because, when you get injured that young, if it's that serious when you're that young, it's going to make me concerned. And then you got the Miami Heat, finished 44-29. Your top guy, you got guys like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, and Jay Crowder. Jimmy Butler, one of the best guys in the league, was a great asset to the 76ers, but on his own, he's proved himself very worthy. 19.9 points per game, but Bam Adebayo has just kind of risen from the ashes. And, you got a great squad around you, but if I gotta find a weakness about you, I'll be honest, like a lot of teams that I see, Jimmy Butler has to click. If he's not performing well, then I think it could be a very long and tough road ahead for you going into the playoffs. So you know what? And of course, this is going to be TJ Warren versus Jimmy Butler. So, I'm going to say Indiana Pacers are going to win in 7. I'm going to say TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler go back-to-back at each other, but in the ultimate Game 7, TJ Warren and Victor Oladipo will come out with, I'm going to say, 64 combined points. So Pacers win in 7. All right, so now we're moving on to the Western Conference with our very first matchup between the LA Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers. Starting off with the Lakers, they finished 52-19, and really, what else is there to say? LeBron James, Anthony Davis, quite possibly one of the best duos in the NBA right now. Arguably the best. LeBron, when he makes it to the playoffs, he's another human being. He played at an MVP-like level this season. He's one of the top 3 for MVPs, right along with Giannis and James Harden. Anthony Davis in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. With those two guys, you guys are great, but something I kind of see as an issue might be that depth a little bit, I mean, you got Kyle Kuzma, but, you're going to be missing Rajon Rondo, and of course you got Danny Green, and honestly, being a Raptors fan, watching him last year in the playoffs, it was just so painful. Like, he was just so bad in the playoffs, and of course you got J.R. Smith. What good is that? What good is J.R. Smith to your team? Anyways, then you got the Portland Trailblazers, 35-39, but went on maybe the biggest hot streak. Like, they're the hottest team in the NBA right now, outside of the Phoenix Suns, even though they didn't make it to the playoffs. But anyways, starting off, Damian Lillard has been your Lord and Savior. He saved you this season. He's the reason why you're in the playoffs. Averaging about 30 points per game, and, he's got a great supporting cast. Carmelo Anthony, everyone says he's washed. He's not. He's performing amazing at a great level. Got him, CJ McCollum, Hassan Whiteside, Jusuf Nurkic, and, what's not to love about the Trailblazers, ultimate underdogs who fought their way up and now have to slay the beast, which is the Lakers. But, of course, something I see as a big issue for you guys is that defense. Against, LeBron and AD in the Lakers offense, I just fear you're going to get smoked. And honestly, I think that's what's going to happen. Not a sweep, but I'm going to say Lakers win in 6 games. Damian Lillard's going to do everything he can, but unfortunately, the team is just not going to be able to back him up. Lakers in 6. And now you have our very next matchup between the LA Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. Starting out with the LA Clippers, honestly, I don't know if there's a team that's better than you. I know the Lakers are better, but I think, in my opinion, the Clippers are the most well-rounded team in the NBA. Got Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, great, very good defensive duo. You got Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, you got Zubac. I like that team. Any weaknesses I see, I think your biggest weakness right now could be Paul George, Had some trouble this season just because, he dealt with injuries, so will he be able to return to form? I think he's got that chance, but of course, I think you're the best overall. You're deep, just you might be the team to beat. And then you got the Dallas Mavericks, otherwise what's known as the Eurostar team. Wait, no, Eurostar, that is a train line down in Europe, but you're the European basketball squad. Got Luka Doncic playing at an MVP-like level. Luka is your future. You got guys you got him, you got Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Seth Curry, not Steph, and honestly, I like that team. Your offense is legit. Any weaknesses? Well, I mean, your defense is kind of under average, which is a problem going up against the Clippers, but also that lack of experience. Majority of the guys in the playoffs that you have just don't have the experience, and honestly, that's something you might be thinking, oh, that doesn't mean anything. Trust me, experience means a lot in the NBA. The younger stars might just have a harder time, adjusting to a playoff environment. It's a different time out there, and even though I still think Luka Doncic is going to be great, I got the Clippers winning this one. Clippers in 6 because Luka's going to do the best that he can, but in the end, Clippers in 6. All right, now you have our very next match between the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. Starting off with the Denver Nuggets, you went 46-27, finished third in the Western Conference, and biggest strengths, Nikola Jokic. Yes, he shredded a few pounds, but I think like that's gonna make him such a better scorer. Like, you guys, like, I see you strive on the inside game. You got guys like Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Jerami Grant, Michael Porter Jr. Like, I like that team. I like you guys. Like, inside scoring, got the best center in the NBA. Like, no matter what anyone says, it's not Embiid. It's just not him. And anyways, if I gotta find any weaknesses about you guys, you know, injuries can hamper you guys, and that's always a big concern because, you know, in the NBA, you know, one of your players gets injured, it could really mean the end of your season. And that's honestly what the Nuggets have to be careful about because injuries just are my biggest concern. Then you got the Utah Jazz. You know, with Rudy Gobert, man, he started taking down everything, league by league by league. But, you know, he's back. One of the best defensive centers in the NBA. I think he might be the best. Well, he's got Giannis to deal with. He's got AD, and there's him. But one of the better defenders in the league, nonetheless. But, of course, everything rolls around Donovan Mitchell. You know, he's been a god. You know, like Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, you know, they're the future for you guys, so protect them at all costs. You know, you also got guys like Joe Ingles, Jawan Morgan, and Royce O'Neal. All right, and that's perfect. Any weaknesses to see with you guys? No Bogdanovic. I think that's how it's pronounced. But anyways, like, he's been one of the main parts of that scoring game. And honestly, I could really see that hurting you in the future. I mean, you got a great three, but Bojan was just kind of like a big part of that scoring game. So honestly, this series between Utah and Denver could go either way. But in the end, I think Denver is going to win this series in 7 games. And anyways, you have our final matchup of the first round between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. Gonna be fun because, you know, Texans and people from Oklahoma don't like each other, so that's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna start out with the 5 seed in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Went 44-28. Honestly, I didn't think you guys would do it. I really didn't. Like, my expectation was, you know, once you traded away Paul George, I thought, okay, well, you got Westbrook. How's he going to do? Then once you trade away Westbrook, I'm like, all right, you guys are done. Like, you know, the new version of the process, you know, got a ton of draft capital coming in. But you know what? You have succeeded, and now you've got a whole lot of draft capital coming in. Can't wait to see it from you guys. CP3, you know, everyone said, he's washed. No, he's not. He was able to elevate this team to some amazing heights. You know, you got guys like Steven Adams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, however you pronounce it. It's been amazing this season. Same with Dennis Schroeder. I like you guys, you know, the ultimate underdog, you know, kind of. Did you, like, people could say you overachieved, but in the Western Conference, no, you did not. Very good job. Any weaknesses? You know, you guys are kind of a young team, so I could also see the, you know, the lack of experience could hamper you, but you're going up against the Rockets, you know. They went 44-28, same record, 4th seed. Got James Harden and Russell Westbrook, one of the best duos in the NBA. And then you got like some other good starters like PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, Robert Covington, but there's so many things that I find weak about you. One of them is being chokers. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, known for choking in the playoffs. I saw that in Westbrook, like the past 2 years. He's been one and dones. You know, for James Harden, when he's facing easy competition, he'll live up to it. But when he faces the tough competition in the playoffs, he's never able to get it done. Neither are the Rockets. Consistency, well, at least with your shooting. Like, yes, I know you have you make the most threes per game, but your shooting percentage and 3 percentage is just abysmal. Like, you guys literally just like shoot the ball and that's it. Which also, if you shoot it a lot because your defense sucks, and also you're gonna be screwed in the height spectrum because, you know, your guys are just so short, so they're going to get out-rebounded, and, like, you're not going to be able to get those, like, second chance points or be able to stop teams defensively. So, honestly, this series could go either way. Harden and Westbrook could realistically outdo the Thunder, but I'm saying Thunder in 6. Right, now you have our very next matchup. It's going to be between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. So starting off with the Milwaukee Bucks. So some of the things I touched upon, you know, they're big guys. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, you know, great team overall. Some of the things I didn't touch up upon, well, of course, they're a team that kind of thrives on, like, the drive game. You know, both these teams don't really do well when it comes to, like, threes. Like, they don't shoot that many, mainly because it's just not their strength. You know, because, well, honestly, when it's not driving for the Bucks, that's, like, their biggest issue. Because, you know, they're not making free throws, not really making their threes, so, you know, you kind of got to stop the drive if you want to get to the Bucks. But, of course, Giannis, right now, he's just too good. Like, even though the Bucks did have a couple of concerns in the bubbles, you know, I think they'll be fine for the playoffs. And then when you got the Pacers, you know, always, like I said, I worry about their consistency. You know, with T.J. Warren, like I said earlier, like, he had games where he would be great, and then he would completely fall off. And one of the things is, of course, with the Pacers not shooting the three that much, Bucks might have an advantage on that, because, you know, even though they are one of the better defensive teams, they give up a lot of trays, or threes. So, you know, Indiana, if you want to win this series, I'd suggest shoot the three. You know, but you know what? Big prediction. I'm going to say Victor Oladipo gets injured in Game 2. I'm going to say season-ending hip fracture. And I'm going to say Milwaukee wins the series in 5 games. And now you have our very next matchup between the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics. Now this is going to be a very exciting matchup. Toronto versus Boston. Who doesn't love that? It's like Blue Jays versus Red Sox. Bills versus Patriots, even though Bills are in Buffalo, but it's close we get to Toronto. Maple Leafs versus Bruins. Actually, I hate that matchup. Both can go fuck themselves. And then Raptors versus Celtics. Amazing. One of my favorites. And something like I said, both these teams, what they have going for them is a lot of depth. You know, the Raptors, we got Spicy P, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Marcus Gasol, Serge Ibaka, all those guys. And then we have the Celtics. They got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward. Like, they are loaded and loaded with depth. Now, Raptors, something that people have complained about us is, you know, we haven't faced, like, a lot of good competition. Which, you know, I think we've had games where, against good competition, we've kind of faltered. But, honestly, who doesn't falter against good competition? Like, every team's going to have those games that we shouldn't have lost. Like, I know, like, the one that we had in the bubble against the Celtics kind of made us rethink everything. So, yeah, that one was rough. But, you know, weaknesses that I see with us, one of them is actually Pascal Siakam himself, because, you know, he just had a bit of a rough time in the bubble, you know, didn't perform as well, so is he going to be ready for that? And, of course, one of the biggest pieces that has to click is OG Anunoby, because, you know, when he's good, he's going to thrive us to victory. But when he's kind of like mediocre or less, then it can lead to mixed results for the Raptors. Celtics, like I said, amazing depth. You're great overall. Biggest weakness I see for you in this series is the size of your players. Like, I think, like, your tallest player, who's like a starter, which is Theis, is 6'10". That's not going to live up to a guy like, not going to live up to a Marcus Gasol, a Serge Ibaka, or a Pascal Siakam. Like, yes, I know your tallest player actually is Taco Fall, but come on, he's, like, not going to get any playing time, which is very sad, because I like Taco. But anyways, that's just it. Like, to me, you don't have it in size, and the Raptors, like, we're going to out-rebound you, we're going to outplay you. Simple. No question. Although this is going to be one of the tougher series that we play, I say we win it in 6 games. And now we have our very next matchup. We're going over to the Western Conference between the LA Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So starting off, you know, Lakers, you got the duo. You got LeBron and AD. You You know, your depth, of course, does raise a couple of concerns for me. You know, because, you know, no Rajon Rondo, Danny Green is just... I'll be honest, if the Raptors had lost last year, he would have been probably the first guy on my hit list because of how unclutch and how bad he was. But some good things that are running for you, you know, one of the best teams, you know, great offensively, amazing defensively. And honestly, I don't think anything can stop you this round. Then you got the Thunder. I mean, of course, like I said, I kept doubting them. You know, I kept saying CP3's washed. But no, if he makes it this far, it's just like a great addition to his legacy, making something from nothing with him and, of course, head coach Billy Donovan. I haven't even talked about Billy Donovan, but massive amounts of credit to the guy for turning what was expected to be one of the new and greatest tanks of the NBA coming up, turned out to be something that could be amazing for the future. Now that I'm done with that, I just don't think Oklahoma's going to have this series. Like, LeBron and the Lakers right now are just not, like... Oklahoma City just won't have enough. You know, even though I love seeing LeBron and CP3 play against each other, I just think right now, I think the Thunder will even be lucky to make it out of the first round, but if they make it to the second round, they're not going to be ready for it. So sadly, as much as I love them, sadly, their miracle run of a season is going to come to an end, as LeBron and AD will easily take you out in 5 games. And now you have our final matchup from the conference semifinals between the LA Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Man, this is going to be a good series. So, starting off with the Denver Nuggets. You know, I don't know really what to say about you. Like, I always just don't think you can take the next step. Like, I always think like you're gonna make it to where everyone expects you to make it, but just never be able to get over that hump. Happened last year with Portland, and sadly, I'm not sure if it's gonna happen to you again. But of course, let me go over to the positives. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Jamari Grant, Michael Porter Jr. You got a great team. Like, of course, you thrive on the drive. Don't really do well at like many other categories. And that's honestly just a concern, you know. You're kind of average on offense, kind of average on defense. Like, inside game works, but of course, once you get stopped there, you know. Like, I know your outside game is actually pretty good, but is it going to be enough? Because you're going up against the Clippers. Arguably, a team with maybe the best depth in the NBA overall. You know, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, amazing lockdown defenders. You know, you got Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley, got Zubac. Like, this team, I just see them being too much of a problem for the Denver Nuggets. Although, even though I don't think that it's going to be that bad, even though I don't think Clippers are going to win that easily, it's going to come down to the wire. But of course, I think Kawhi Leonard is going to get another clutch Game 7 shot at. Not quite a buzzer beater, but I think he's going to be like one that he had against the 76ers in Game 4. It was like 91-90 with like a minute, with just above or under a minute to go, and he sinks a clutch shot clock buzzer beater 3 that basically sealed the game over the 76ers. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen. Clippers in 7. So we've made it pretty far, and now we are at the Western Conference Finals. I'm going with Western Conference this time because this is going to be the Battle of LA between the LA Clippers and the LA Lakers, just the way the NBA wants it. You know, just the way their narratives would have wanted to be. LA versus LA. It's perfect. Anyways, starting out with the LA Lakers, of course, like I've talked about you, pretty good all around. You know, many things I've talked about you. Good defense, a good offense. You know, 2 of the best players in the NBA. But unfortunately, of course, that lacking part is going to be that depth and, you know, the injury protocols. Because, like, look, like I said, J.R. Smith, Danny Green, those aren't the kind of guys I would want as a supporting cast to take me to the finals. I keep forgetting to even talk about Kyle Kuzma. Like, he's pretty good, but, like, with him, J.R. Smith and Danny Green, if I had to support a duo, that is not the squad I want to support with them at all. And That's the thing about the Lakers. Like, they're amazing, one of the best teams in the NBA, but of course that lack of support kind of holds me back a little bit. And then with the Clippers, like I said, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, unlike the Lakers, they have an amazing depth around them. They got Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley, Zubac. Like, if I want a team that's if those guys are backing up any team in the NBA, like when it comes to 3, 4, 5 mans, those are the guys I want to have in. Those are the guys I want to have as a good supporting cast. They are perfect for that. And of course, yeah, I see some weaknesses like Paul George. I just don't know how good he's going to be. But honestly, I think this series is going to come down to one factor. Who's the better guy in the playoffs right now? Is it LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard? Now, LeBron many times has shown he's the guy. Took down dynasties. Kawhi Leonard did the same. But honestly, right now, many of you may not agree with this, but I think Kawhi Leonard right now is the better player in the playoffs. I think Kawhi is a lot more clutch. He's the guy I would give last ball to. So honestly, despite this is going to be an amazing series, but Clippers win in 7 and make the NBA Finals. And now we have our final matchup of the conference finals. And it's a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and my boys in the Toronto Raptors. So, let's get this started. So, things I've talked about with the Bucks. Strong defense, great drive game, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that lineup that you got. And then, right along with the Raptors, amazing squad that they got. Pascal Siakam emerged as an all-star overnight. Got guys like Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Marc Gasol, Norman Powell, Fred VanVleet. Anyways, both these teams thrive on the defense. Except there's a bit of a difference between us two. When it comes to offense, they thrive a lot more on the drive. We thrive kind of more on transitions and threes. And of course, even though they are one of the better defensive NBA teams in the league, our three is one of the best, and they struggle with the three, and that's going to be a major factor that I think that's going to play in towards the Raptors' favor. And, their three-point is not good, so hopefully we can be able to get the boards on them. But, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo he's so good right now. One of the best. And, but, of course, I think the biggest factor is who's going to have the better squad when the stars collapse. Because when Pascal's underperforming, he's got his whole squad around him that can kind of push him forward. I didn't even talk about, also another thing I could be a little bit concerned about for the Raptors is Marc Gasol. Lost 50 pounds, and he's going to get pushed around a lot on defense. Offense, I think he could be a little bit better, but the defense part, I'm just way too concerned about. But now, back to the Bucks. Here's the thing. If I were to injure both their starters, if I were to injure Giannis, and if I were to injure Pascal Siakam, who would I take in that series? Easily I'd take the Raptors. Now, with both those guys in, right now, due to the fact that the Raptors have the better depth, and honestly, just a couple statistics that I think make them better than the Bucks, Raptors are going back to the NBA Finals. We're going right back, winning it in another 6 games. So Raptors in 6, moving on to the NBA Finals. And so here we are, after clawing our way, good pun because the Raptors, after clawing our way through matchup after matchup after matchup, even before that, with the threat of not even getting a chance to play, we have finally made it to the NBA Finals between the Toronto Raptors and the LA Clippers. Honestly, if the NBA wanted a match for the finals, Raptors wouldn't kind of be in it. For me, if it came to narratives, well, of course, one of the big ones I would want to see is Lakers-Bucks. You got LeBron, he's the face of the NBA, and he's going to be facing off against Giannis, the future face of the NBA. But this one's good because it's Kawhi Leonard coming back to play the Raptors. The team that brought him in, gave him a championship, had a chance to get him back and possibly become a dynasty. Sadly, never happened. But this would be an awesome matchup. Guys like Pascal Siakam, Kawhi Leonard, just be great. Both teams, what of course I like about both these teams is the depth that surrounds them. Amazing depth on both sides of the court. Defense for both is amazing. Now, the Clippers' offense, I think, has a bit of an upper hand over the Raptors. The Raptors, we have a great offense, but of course, some things I see is I know our three is one of the best in the NBA, but the drive, sometimes we have a little bit of trouble with. Now, I don't know why, but it's just a thing that I see with us. So there's a lot that goes in the finals. But of course, it's so hard to think about this. Like, who wins? I mean, now that I think about it more and more, the Raptors, like, of course, like, Clippers have great depth, but in my opinion, Raptors have the better depth. Like, it was shown at later parts in the bubble how well we were able to perform without our big guys. Heck, even last year, Kawhi Leonard on load management, we proved that we could win without him. So this is going to be a very good finals matchup. You know, one of the underdogs rose their way up. Another team built a great duo and made it here. So here's what I think is going to happen. Raptors will take game 1. No doubt, take game 1. Game 2, I could see going to the Clippers. You know, it'll be a close affair, but the Clippers will swipe one away from us. Going into game 3, you know, it's going to be another tight affair, but the Raptors are going to come out on top. Game 4, Clippers, I'm going to say, are going to win this one. It's going to be kind of like a close game at first, but then in the fourth quarter, I'm going to say the Clippers pull away. 5th game, I see the Raptors are going to win by a long shot. I think we're just going to effectively stuff Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. And then game 6. On the line, you know, Clippers, they need to win this. You know, Kawhi in the clutch, he is clutch. But not this time, because I have the Raptors winning in the 6th game. I have the Raptors winning the NBA Finals in 6 games. Now, some people might be thinking, that's a bit of a long shot. Guys, stop sleeping on the Raptors. Actually, no. Sleep on us. The more you sleep on us, the better we are. We fuel off you guys not paying attention to who we are. We are going to be the best team in the NBA. We are going to be it. So I'm saying Raptors win in 6. Finals MVP goes to Pascal Siakam as he emerges as one of the top. He's going to emerge as best power forward in the game right now. So yes, even though I'd say overall the Clippers, overall I say both these teams are kind of even, but in the end, Raptors are going to pull through and win in 6. And that is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I know that you have waited a long time for me to come back out with these predictions, or even just make a video in general. But trust me, I think at least until school starts again, before I start 12th grade, I'm going to be posting a little bit more, post a few stories, you know, post a couple fun videos before I get back on the NFL grind, you know, kind of start talking about the Saints again, doing more and more prediction videos. But anyways, this is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see my other prediction videos, like NFL postseason predictions, if you want to see my tribute to Teddy Bridgewater, I'll leave the links to those in the description below. Make sure to take a second to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what other kind of videos you want to see from me. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Yes, I'm posting way more on TikTok than I ever have been. Make sure to follow me on all that at Suda the Savage. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Anyways, peace